My big brother Jake pretended to support me, but the moment I was most vulnerable, he stole my 6 months-old baby and vanished without a trace. What he didn't expect was how I'd come back stronger, ready to make him pay for every second of my pain. Jake was the person I thought I could trust with my life. Growing up, he was my protector, my role model, the one who had my back no matter what. Our bond was unbreakable, or so I believed. But when I became a mother, everything changed. Those first few months after my baby was born were a whirlwind of exhaustion and fear. Sleepless nights blended into endless worries about whether I was doing things right, if my baby was healthy, if I could even afford to keep us afloat. I was overwhelmed and vulnerable, and when I reached out for help, Jake promised he'd be there. At first, he kept his word. Jake visited often, held the baby, reassured me with his calm voice. But slowly, his visits became fewer, his calls unanswered. Whenever I asked if he could help with anything, he'd brush it off, making excuses I wanted to believe. I told myself he was just busy, stressed, maybe struggling with things he wouldn't share. But beneath the surface, something darker was brewing. One night, I woke up to silence. The baby's crib was empty. My heart plummeted. I searched the nursery, the whole house, frantic tears blurring my vision. Where was my baby? I called Jake, my voice cracking with panic. No answer. His phone went straight to voicemail. Hours passed like days. Friends and neighbors hadn't seen him or the baby. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. The betrayal hit me harder than I could describe. Jake, my brother, my supposed protector, had taken my child. Stolen the very thing I loved most in the world and disappeared without a trace. Days turned into weeks. The police were involved, but leads ran cold. The nightmare seeped into every part of my life. I lost sleep, appetite, and the light in my eyes dimmed. As I fought to keep going, pieces of the truth surfaced. Secrets Jake had kept hidden, resentments buried under years of sibling rivalry. It wasn't just about the baby. It was about power, jealousy, and a grudge I never saw coming. Yet, in the midst of my darkest moments, something fierce awoke inside me. I wasn't going to let Jake win. I wasn't going to let him destroy me. This was just the beginning of my fight, a battle to reclaim my child, expose the lies, and make Jake pay for every second of pain he caused. From the moment I realized Jake had taken my baby, my life spiraled into chaos. The police investigation felt like moving through quicksand, slow, frustrating, and full of dead ends. Every day, I woke hoping for news, any sign, but nothing came. My hope flickered like a candle in a storm. I spent countless hours retracing Jake's steps. I called old friends, distant relatives, anyone who might know where he'd gone. Each call was a stab to my heart when they said, "We haven't seen him." It was as if Jake had disappeared into thin air, leaving me alone in a world that suddenly felt cold and unforgiving. The nights were the hardest. I would sit in the dark, clutching the baby's blanket, the scent still faint on my hands. Memories of holding my child, hearing that first fragile cry, burned fresh. The silence was deafening. I felt hollow, like a part of me had been ripped away. Friends tried to comfort me, but no words could fill the void Jake left. Some whispered that I should forgive, to find peace in letting go. But forgiveness felt impossible. How do you forgive someone who steals your child? Someone who breaks the sacred bond of family and trust? I started digging deeper into Jake's past. The brother I thought I knew was a stranger hiding behind a mask. Rumors surfaced, debts he couldn't pay, bad choices, a hidden life of desperation. I discovered he'd been involved with dangerous people, people I feared could hurt him, and my baby. Fear and anger collided inside me. I realized Jake hadn't just run away. He was trapped in a web of lies and threats. But that didn't excuse what he did. It only fueled my resolve. I reached out to a private investigator, someone with experience tracking missing persons. Every day, I fed him every scrap of information I could find. bank records, phone logs, social media posts. Slowly, the puzzle started to come together. Meanwhile, Jake's absence exposed wounds within my family. Some relatives turned their backs, unwilling to get involved. Others whispered accusations against me, questioning my ability to care for the baby. The betrayal cut deeper than Jake's actions. But amidst the darkness, unexpected allies emerged. Friends who refused to let me face this alone. They reminded me of my strength when I couldn't see it myself. I vowed not to let Jake's betrayal define me. Every sleepless night, every tear shed, hardened my spirit. I was no longer just a victim. I was a fighter. And the day would come when I'd confront Jake, not as the scared sister begging for answers, but as a woman ready to reclaim her life and make him pay for the pain he caused. After months of tireless searching, following every lead, and fighting through the darkest moments of despair, the moment I had feared yet hoped for finally arrived. I found Jake. My big brother, the one who stole my baby, the man who shattered my world, was standing right in front of me. He was hiding in a rundown apartment on the edge of town, worn down by guilt and fear. His eyes were tired, haunted, like he had been running from more than just the law. But I wasn't there to show weakness or plead for answers anymore. I came with a fire burning inside me, a fire fueled by months of pain, betrayal, and unwavering determination. The confrontation was raw and tense. Jake's face twisted in surprise, then regret. But I didn't back down. I stared him down with everything I had. The sister who once looked up to him had transformed into a woman who demanded justice. "Why, Jake?" I asked, voice shaking with a mix of anger and heartbreak. "Why would you do this to me? To your own family? To your own niece?" His excuses stumbled out: jealousy, money problems, bitterness. But none of them could cover the depth of his betrayal. I saw through the lies, the carefully crafted mask he'd worn for years. This wasn't just a moment of weakness. It was a calculated act, one that had cost me my peace, my child, my trust. I told him, calmly but firmly, that the pain he caused wasn't just mine. It rippled through our entire family. The wounds he inflicted would take a lifetime to heal. But I wasn't here for revenge in the way he might have feared. I was here to reclaim my power. I had spent countless nights crying alone, fighting for every shred of hope. But those tears had turned to steel. I had learned to stand tall in the face of betrayal and use my pain as fuel to fight back. With the evidence I had painstakingly gathered, the messages, the hidden debts, the trails of lies, I contacted the authorities. Watching Jake being led away in handcuffs was a moment I never imagined I'd witness. Justice wasn't just served, it was earned. Reuniting with my baby was a flood of relief and overwhelming love. Holding my child again, I felt a strength I never knew I had. The scars from this ordeal would take time to fade, but I now understood that my story was not about victimhood. It was about survival and resurgence. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. Trust had been broken in ways I couldn't yet repair. Family gatherings would be tense, and some relationships might never mend. But I refused to let Jake's betrayal define the rest of my life. Instead, I chose to own my story, to turn the darkest chapter of my life into a testament of resilience and power. To everyone watching this story, betrayal can cut deeper than any wound, but it doesn't have to be the end of your story. If you're facing heartbreak, injustice, or the unimaginable pain of family betrayal, know this: you are not alone, and you are stronger than you think. Don't let anyone steal your hope. Fight for your truth. Rise from the ashes and reclaim your life on your own terms. If this story resonated with you, please share your own experiences in the comments. Your voice can be a beacon of strength for others navigating their own battles. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to join our community of warriors who refuse to be silenced. Thank you for watching Family Betrayal Confessions. Together, we stand stronger.